the air. We're joining you from Rockne Stadium on the west side of Chicago for today's Chicago Public League Red Division matchup. Homecoming. HoCo, the undefeated Whitney Young Dolphins hosting the Clark Eagles. I'm Barry Newman, joined today by Jack Wildermuth and Remy Vaudel on camera. Jack, how you doing?
Barry, doing great today. Happy to be here at Newt Rockne Stadium.
Thursday afternoon game. Happy hour, everybody. So Dolphins come in here 4-0 after a heart-stopping win, 14-13 win last week at Lane Stadium. If you joined us, you had an amazing ride. We had an amazing ride. Fun game. Coach Finger kept these guys rolling. And come in here today looking to go 5-0 on the season, 3-0 in the Red Division. Clark Eagles, they have something to say about that. Clark comes in at 2-2 overall. Head coach Kevin Simmons in his 14th year leading the Austin Eagles. So he's got 57 wins to his record and 5 IHSA playoff appearances. Had a chance to catch up with Coach Finger a little earlier this week. We reflected on that Lane win and also got his thoughts on today's game. Here's Coach Finger.
Coach Finger, oftentimes they talk about the sequel in a movie sequence. The second one not as good as the first. This one, if we look back to the 2021 season and the last time we played at Lane against Lane, so many of the things that happened in that game were crazy. A sellout crowd, number 6 with a pick 6, Dale brothers coming up with massive plays, a goal line stand, and then a field goal at the end that is missed by Lane, either blocked in one instance, or I call it the ghost of Malik Amos pushing that thing wide. What's your reflections on that game?
Yeah, you know, Barry made a great play. We kind of talked about changing switching that route concept all week in practice, and he saw it really, really well, and made a great break and made sure he caught it and made sure he scored, and you know, and then we you know, had an injury to Ben Barrett, so we were kind of apprehensive about kicking as a whole all night, so we went for 2 and got it, and you know, and then the field goal stuff, in the first half we were doing a lot of stuff the wrong way. We weren't doing the little things that, you know, we weren't jogging off the field. We weren't taking great angles in pursuit in case teammates missed tackles. We weren't making the smart football plays that require a lot of commitment to the process. And we talked about that at halftime. We didn't really talk about much X's and O's, execution, or anything like that. We talked about those little things, playing the game the right way, the way we know it should be played. And we did that a lot better in the second half, and I think I'm a firm believer in that football karma that Lou Holtz quote, preparation, luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and when you're doing things the right way, you get those bounces. I think we got one of those bounces at the end there. You know, playing really, really hard-nosed football in our own red zone there, and making sure we stop them, making sure we line up for the field goal block the right way, and really rushing on the first couple times. The first time they kicked it, we rushed hard, and I thought we should have blocked it. And you know, I like to think maybe the kicker, the holder, the snapper are kind of thinking about that. You know, hearing me kind of get on our guys for not laying out to block it, and I think you get those bounces when you play that way. So crazy parallels to 21. Always a tough place to play in front of a huge crowd like that, but that's kind of what high school football is all about. It's fun to be the villain. It's fun to go on the road, and we talked pre-game about putting on our villain masks, our Jason mask, and being stoic, and then our Joker mask when things were going wrong, and they're looking over like, why are they smiling? Well, because it's time to be the villain. So it was really fun. I think our guys had a ton of fun, and it's a game they're going to remember forever.
All All right, and so there were some questionable officiating calls. I'm going to not have you comment on that, but there was a moment in this game where I thought things had completely gone off the rails because I looked over and you had taken out a referee. So let's talk a little bit about that scenario.
Yeah, I realized we needed to start saving some time in case they did make the field goal so that we could run our 2-minute drill heading back the other way, and I was having trouble getting the officials' attention, and I try and I'm not quite in playing shape. I try and move a little bit here at practice and on the treadmill every now and then, but he wasn't. I was having trouble getting his attention. He was signaling, and he finally turned toward me and stepped towards me, and I realized I needed to slam on the brakes or I was going to run right into it, and just banana peeled, and I think that was a soccer slide tackle for about 5 yards, and took his legs out, and did not mean to do it by any means. I forget his name, but he has officiated a lot of our games, and he's a good guy, and never ever want to see anybody hurt, least of all the people who aren't wearing pads, me and the officials. So it was a total accident, but that's the kind of urgency we needed for that timeout call, and I wouldn't trade it for I wouldn't go back and change anything if I could. So he's okay, I'm okay, but I might be pulling a Jim Harbaugh sometime soon and wearing cleats next time I have to do that.
That was fun, a lot of fun. All right, so let's pivot to Clark. Short week, and they talk about the NFL. I mean, in high school, that's even shorter given your access to guys. You got to pivot to that, and you got a Clark team that always plays tough. I mean, I know that before you've talked about the West Side football, the West Side mentality. What are you expecting in this Thursday's game?
Yeah, they know who they are. They know who they want to be. They're going to try and impose that identity on the game. They want to control the football. They want to run the football. They want to eat clock and time of possession. And then they're going to, run the ball downhill, with condensed formations, wishbone. They can get to spread, but they want to run it downhill and inside the tackles. And then when they do throw it, they want to throw it over your head. They want to play action you and get you falling asleep a little bit. They're always going to have tough physical kids, good athletes, and defensively they want to play man coverage. They want to get in your face. They want to blitz like crazy. We're going to see a lot of 5-man, 6-man fronts this week, and we want to be able to make sure that we're communicating up front, that the quarterback is aware who the unblocked guy is going to be, and that we're reading the right guys in the run game. So short week, we're not going to be totally healthy because you just never are this time of year. But we got to have guys ready to rotate and be physical, playing inside as well.
All right, and then we saw some different looks on offense. You're gonna show your hand at this point on what we might see in the Clark game?
I think we're going to see a lot of Conrad. We're really confident in what he can do this week, and Josiah Purnell as a backup as well, and always going to try and get creative ways to get balls in the hands of really good football players. So there may be some snaps to Joseph Gray as well, but we didn't exploit what we thought we could have as much last week. But that we're just going to keep working that stuff, and we want to be able to do that late into the season in November, being able to run the football in different ways with different guys getting the snap. But definitely going to see mostly Vaughn Conrad and if necessary, Josiah Purnell back there.
All right, sounds good. Homecoming week, go Dolphins.
Thanks, Barry. Go Dolphins.
All right, that was Coach Finger. I talked to him earlier this week. Sorry, audio wasn't great. I didn't realize we had a whole battalion of fire trucks going on when we did the interview. And also, maybe I'll just preemptively mention today it is homecoming. So Jack and I usually have to fight off the masses of the students who get it in their mind that they want to entirely change sections. So right now, the student section is entirely in front of us, which is we'll hope for the best. Remy has moved up a level in the camera, so hopefully he'll give you a clear view for most of the day. But yeah, we're gonna have a good football game on our hands today. Again, Dolphins come in 4-0. That defense has only given up 3 touchdowns all season. I mean, we've had a couple defensive scores against us, but Dolphin defense has only given up 3 touchdowns. So overall, Dolphins have outscored their opponents 116-32. Defense led by that linebacking core. So Luke Yolich and Joseph Gray. Gray's got 7.5 tackles for loss on the season. Luke with 4 tackles for loss already, and we're going to look to see, given what Coach Finger had mentioned, I had a chance to watch some game film on Clark. They will run a bunch of different formations, but a lot of, see, I told you, the student section is all, my prediction came true. My first prediction of the day came true.
It did, Barry. My primary role today is the bodyguard for you and bodyguard for the equipment. It's hard to get inside the teenage mind, however. When they see a friend group or a boy or a girl somewhere, they're going to just run right over us.
Yes, absolutely. There's no regard for any sort of adults, electrical equipment, anything like that. But yes, I'm glad they're making this move early in the game. So Clark will line up in a bunch of different formations, but a lot of what they'll end up with is the ball in Anthony Spivey's hands. So Spivey was a second-team all-CPS guy last year. I think at the linebacker slot, but he wears number 1, and you're going to see him a lot on both sides of the ball. There are other guys. Anthony Brooks is a second-team all-CPL last year at D-line. He's number 11. And number 53, Amaje Devine, is also a second-teamer last year, offensive lineman. So they've got size. They don't, like Coach Finger said, they will try to pound the ball, and then try to throw it over the top of you. So not, I wouldn't say a bunch of sophistication in the passing game, but they can be successful there in kind of lulling you to sleep by thinking they're just going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. The other thing that they do is they spend a lot of time between their plays. This is part of their model. They want to limit the number of times the opposing team has the ball, and they're going to run it, so the clock's going to be running. And I know we've seen that with our past 2 games against them over the last 2 seasons. That all of a sudden you look up and it's it's the end of the first half, and you're only getting the ball for the second or third time. So Coach Finger also alluded to potentially going to some no huddle, or at least going to a faster tempo type of offense. Then the key thing there, and you mentioned, with Vaughn, I mean, we've relied heavily on the run game for the last 2 games, all right? I mean, so if we look at that, and I think I have my numbers here somewhere. I mean, this overall team has rushed for 736 yards, so that's 184 yards a game and 11 touchdowns. Last week was a struggle, though. I mean, last week, the only reason we were over 100 yards total offense was that 50-yard Quinn Duhan touchdown. Now, you did have the Barry Gordon pick 6, so you lost a possession there. But it was also a game that was really tough for the Dolphins to get untracked in either the passing or the running game. And I think the hope is to try to establish some of the balance, a little more balance on that today. I think last couple weeks, second half against Johnson, just handed the ball off. Tried doing that last week and wasn't quite as successful. So we'll see what Coach Finger, Coach Boucher, and the Dolphins can dial up on that front.
I think last week we had the first downs in the first 2 possessions, if I recall, and we tried different ways of running the ball, including with Joseph Gray and the Wildcats. So the creativity is there with Coach Eddie and Coach Finger. So
yeah, and I think that's what I think is interesting on this is and we've talked a lot. I mean, we've given the coaching staff credit for being able to sort of switch some things up on the fly. The challenge comes in for your quarterback position. And, last year you had a senior in Bennett Newman. Then you had a Wildcat quarterback in Anthony Hood who had a lot of snaps during their tenure, a lot of reps that were going on. And they were, to their credit, they were sort of able to make those changes on the fly, so Newman had been the starting quarterback through the first 2/3 of the season, and then when we faced Taft, it was clear that a Wildcat offense was going to work, and then in some way the coaching staff sort of fell in love with that. But there were times during the season, the last game against Kenwood, where all of a sudden Kenwood had completely shut down that Wildcat offense. Well, then you had to shift back into that passing game, and the last pass of the season was a touchdown completion from Newman to Nazir Rankin. They were able to do that. A little tougher. I mean, Vaughn Conrad, he's a junior. That's the upside, is that this guy has reps that he's putting in right now, and he's got this season and next season. I think it's a little tougher, though, for, last week where it was like, hey, we're running it now. Oh, we flipped it over to the Wildcat formation and ran a couple series there, and then it was like, okay, Vaughn, jump back in there and do it. So it's something that you can develop over time, but it's also a challenge that your team faces. And this team is, I guess I would say it's sort of like it's a balance team. You have a lot of experience on that offensive line. But what's a little different is that the skill positions aren't, it's not Newman, Hood, Clayton in all of those positions where those guys had played as much as they had done. You've got different guys in those looks.
Yeah, outside of Luke Yolich and maybe a little bit of Maxwell Warner, you're right, Barry. Not many touches coming into the season, so hopefully the team will get better given that dynamic as we progress through the year. Yeah,
because I think it's now is sort of the time when you start looking at the schedule of you want to try to establish a firm identity in what that is, right? And so we'll see if today can be an inroads in it. Feels like the wind has actually picked up here a little bit. You got a weather report there for us?
We do, Barry. Coming into today here at beautiful Rockne Stadium. Weather report brought to you by Tom Skilling, Jeff Skilling, and 9-time Emmy winner.
Yeah.
And Whitney Young supporter Paul Conrad. 74 degrees here at Central in Roosevelt. We have a wind 8 miles an hour, gusting up to 16 from the northeast. The feels like temperature is 76. I don't know if I believe in any of that. The most important thing for the Dolphins is the dew point. 54 degrees. 54.
And we think with those 54 dew points, and there's, I don't know, is Principal Harris waving to us? Are you waving to us? We're waving to you.
We'd love to have Principal Harris
He's giving us some hand signals. We have no idea what we're talking about, though.
So I believe the Dolphins are undefeated when we kick off at a dew point of 54 degrees.
Yep. So I think what it means, I think, is that we've got a clear, crisp day. At Lane, it's always a little bit slick. I think we're going to have great field conditions. Coach Finger had talked about some of the injuries. And, there was maybe we'll have a little less cramping today. That would be great.
I hope one of those big orange and white Gatorade buckets are filled with pickle juice. Juice this week.
That would be great. That would be great for the whole. Here we go. We got some guys just coming on through here. Next year I need to get some yellow police tape to kind of tape off of our section. So
I'll try to block as much as I can.
Anyway, I don't know what I was talking about. Does anybody know what we're talking about?
We're getting some refreshments here. We have the Whitney Young moms here out in full force for homecoming game.
I was not able to attend the, I'm okay, but thank you. I was not able to attend the pep rally today, but Whitney Young School of Champions is also a school of pep rallies. They can put one on you. So I'm sure that was a lot of fun. I know we had a great contingent of Dolphin parents that were out there today.
No, it sounded great. It sounded like Principal Harris with a nice assist from Val Warner. The mother of birthday boy Maxwell Warner, number 23, was able to lead some cheers.
Excellent. All right. So, yes, Max's birthday today. Last week, Barry Gordon, pick 6, Barry Gordon, 2-point conversion, Barry Gordon. It was his birthday last week.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Let's see if Barry Gordon can, or if Maxwell Warner can repeat a top flight performance like Barry Gordon had last week. Let me give you a little more information on Clark. So I'd mentioned Coach Kevin Simmons in his 14th year. So they're 2-2. They started off with wins over 2 white division foes. And so far in the red division, they dropped a game to Lincoln Park 22-0. I'd say about that game was close the entire way. Lincoln Park scored. They had a long pass and then a long punt return at the end. So essentially that game was an 8-0 game, I think, at halftime after a touchdown and a safety. And then Lincoln Park put on some points later. So the 22-0 score was not necessarily indicative of how competitive that game was. And then Clark lost to Simeon 16-6. So Simeon, one of those traditional powers in the red division. I didn't have a chance to watch that entire game, but I know that Simeon scored on their 4th play from scrimmage. So really, and I think and they converted the 2-point conversion. So that game, after that first possession, Clark played Simeon to an 8-6 game. So pretty solid effort again. Clark does not have a deep roster. Looks like about 30 guys that are out there. But they have some guys that have played. So I mentioned Spivey, number 1, who's a linebacker and a running back. I know that we've faced him for the last 2 years. And in watching some of the tape, a lot of athleticism out of their quarterback as well, Michael Henderson. So looking forward to today's game. I'm not sure. Did they go out there for a coin toss? Clark arrived late, so I'm sort of wondering. You got to go around, guys. Go around.
They have not, Barry. I just heard the PA announcer asking for the officials to report to the field. So I have not seen them.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Clark Clark is just down the street. They literally could have walked over here, but they weren't super early arriving. So I'm wondering if they are giving them an opportunity to go through their paces. But to the point of referees, I also don't see any men in stripes walking around. Maybe we should play their theme song, like Three Blind Mice, and maybe they'll come out.
That sounds right. So teenagers shifting around the sections again. So we're able to create a nice little enclave, I believe. Here.
I love when Mark Duhan tries to talk to me and I have this headset on. I have no idea what he's talking about. I think we're good. Oh, Mark was going to bounce some kids out for us. Yeah, he's feeling a little surly. So Mark Duhan, the original Akron DNA. Well, not original
but, kid from Akron.
Yep. He's going to make sure that that Akron enforces its will on the Whitney Young Dolphins student section. So again, I think we are definitely kicking off late here. So 4:17 right now, and Clark warming up. Dolphins have gone through their full set of warm-ups. So again, Coach Finger mentioned it. We were giving kudos to Coach Finger for the Riverboat Dan move of going for 2 last week after that first touchdown. The reality of it was that Ben Barrett got hurt earlier in the game. 12 3/4 star long snapper Ben Barrett. So they were concerned about trying to do the snap on that, and it came out, and Von Conrad hit Barry Gordon for the 2-point conversion, which ended up being the winning margin. We actually, Jack and I don't know, I think we were invited, but we dropped by the Barrett household. We did a little post-game tailgate after the game last week, and we were talking to Ronit and Brian Barrett, and we discovered then that Ben was out, and Ben came in after that, and we declared that he actually won the game for the Dolphins last week, because if he had been in, probably. Well, I mean, if we play it forward, they would have kicked 2 extra points. I mean, Solomon Bradley's only missed 1 on the year. But anyway, we gave the win to Ben for hurting his shoulder and having us go for 2. But Ben is ready to go today. Saw him out there. I think there were some other concerns on the offensive line, so we'll make sure we keep our eyes open there for the UN security force and make sure that we have all of those guys. I know they're all padded up. But we'll have to see if they're all out there in the starting lineup. So again, the Serbian Sledgehammer, team captain Nick Dale leading up that group, along with fellow senior Juan Buster Cepeda. And you got MJ Woods. MJ has been starting since his freshman year at the left tackle position. MJ, nice game last week, both on the offensive line as well as what he did on the defensive side. Had a really nice blow-up play. And then Dylan Pericini and Alex Oshevsky, those guys round out our international UN security force that has been ushering the Dolphin offense to an average of 184 yards rushing per game. Again, Quinn Duhan also out there as a captain. So last week in that game, Quinn had that 50-yard rushing touchdown, ultimately the winning score. That gave Quinn 4 touchdowns on the season, all of a different variety. That was a rushing touchdown. Quinn, as a wide receiver, had a more traditional receiving touchdown. He's got a kickoff return for a touchdown, which really saved the Dolphins' fins in that game against Johnson and gave them some momentum going into into halftime. And then he had the pick 6 early in the season. So 4 touchdowns for Quinn Duhan, all of different varieties. I, for some strange reason, am actually watching the coin toss.
Could be a first.
I think I got it last week, though. I mean, I'd be on a 2 in a row winning streak. Yeah. I didn't actually see. So there's a conversation. So we do have official. It looks like we have, I'm going to say it's I don't know, it looks like a pretty light crew. I only see 3. It looks like the Dolphins have won the toss. No, Clark's won the toss. There's a coin on the ground, and there's shifting around. Looks like the Dolphins are going to be defending the
North goal. We won the toss.
We won the toss and deferred. Clark will be receiving on the south side. Clark, and I'll just I'll register my complaints about the Clark numbers for Tony McHale. We've got white uniforms with extremely light yellow, just a suggestion of a number on their on their jerseys. So we'll do our best.
We'll do better. I think we'll do better than the Godfather Tony McHale and I did on the first game. We'll try. We have we're challenged with the Dolphins numbers as well.
Dolphin numbers are bad. Like daylight, it makes those orange numbers on blue a lot easier to read. We are going to have the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen, played by the Whitney Young Marching Band.
Nice. We hope.
They're still playing the Whitney Young
it's our fight song
right now. Yeah,
the Dolphin fight song.
I think the PA announcer was ready to roll to the national anthem. There we go.
Woo! Thank you. What a day.
Yeah.
Homecoming game Thursday afternoon. There must be hundreds of students here, Barry.
Hundreds of students, which, I mean, hopefully you can see some of them in our shot here. No one on the Clark sideline, so we've got them outnumbered on the fan front. Definitely have them outnumbered on the players on the sideline front, but Clark is tough. They're gonna give the Dolphins a game today. Again, a team that could clearly be at least another win or two in their column after the first 4 weeks of the season.
A beautiful scene here. We have, I want to say 24 cheerleaders, always looking precise.
Precise.
For the Dolphins. The almost a full brass section here reminds me of the greatest high school band in the land, Whitney Young.
There you go. Love it. Solomon Bradley getting set to tee it up. We'll see if I can get some numbers on our Clark guys. Number 2 back, and 2 and 5. So we're going to say that is DeMarcus Reynolds and DeJuan Hill back deep. Got themselves planted just outside the 10-yard line. Solomon's going to be kicking into that 8-mile, gusting up to 16-mile-an-hour wind with the crisp 55-degree dew point.
Major advantage this week.
Major advantage.
The kick coverage team says, looks like we have Kendall Lyman.
Yeah, Kendall Lyman, number 42.
Getting
Jonathan
some reps last week.
Ejimakin, number 80. Andrew Latham, starting strong safety out there.
It looks like we have Bennett Duras getting some time at outside linebacker.
Fabrizio Bell imploring the Whitney Young Dolphin fans to get up.
Nice kick.
Back to the end zone. Good pursuit, and there you go.
Ryan Pantoja.
Pantoja, the senior.
Thank you for the pronunciation.
Oh, actually, Pantoja is only a junior. I'll give you another year, Brian. So good job, good pursuit. Pantoja brings down the Eagle returner after a minimal gain. They're going to probably put it down on the big line, call it the 15.
Down the 15-yard line, 1st and 10.
So again, Spivey is a load to handle, number 1. He's a linebacker and running back. Looks like number 7, Michael Henderson, is the quarterback. He's getting in the huddle, given the play. Dolphins are starting with Dale on the nose, Cepeda, and Paracchini. Actually, Dale is on the left end, so I think that's Paracchini on the nose. Bunch formation, so Henderson under center. Takes the first snap, handoff, and stacked immediately, brought down by Barry Gordon and Yolich.
PG3.
Gain of 1 yard.
So good job out of the back.
2nd and 8.
Looks like they're going to roll with 4 referees here, 4 officials. We tried to block the teenagers from the section. It appears to be a light suggestion, all the obstacles that we've put in front of them.
They're hurdling the chairs that we have here. We will need Duhan to be our bouncer. He's got bigger things to worry about right now, though. So again, Clark will take a lot of time in the huddle. They've got Henderson, the quarterback. Reynolds is the fullback position, and Hill is operating in the tail of the tandem. There's a handoff to Hill. Hill danced around, gets through. There's Duhan and Cepeda on the end of that tackle.
7-yard carry.
So gets the ball out close to the 25-yard line. So it'll be 3rd down and about 1 yard. Just underway here, first quarter. 10 minutes, 30 seconds left in the first quarter. Underway here a little bit late, but it's homecoming. 4-0 Dolphins against the 2-2 Clark Eagles.
Cowbells are out in force here with the Dolphin parents and students.
So we'll get you some more guys. So BG3, outside linebacker, along with Aaron Champion. Both those guys had great games last week. Bardsma, Maxwell Warner on your corner. So here's a full house backfield on a 3rd and short. Handoff, tripped up immediately in the backfield. That was Yolich, I think, knifing through there and getting the tackle on 3rd down. We'll see what Clark wants to do here early in the game.
Michelle Clark.
Looks like they're going to send on the punting unit. So good. We're going to start tackling. Don't, just, guys. Remy going to start taking some people out. We're getting a bit agitated. We love our Whitney Young Dolphins students, but homecoming game tends to decrease IQs exponentially. So Clark, again, taking a whole lot of time. They're counting their guys on the field. They're sending a man off now, sending a guy on, taking another guy off. Duhan back to receive the punt in Clark territory. He's lined up at the 45. High snap, high and short punt. Dolphins going to get out of the way of it. Nice roll for the Eagles, rolling dead at the Clark 43-yard line. So a nice 3-and-out, third down stop on 3rd and 1. Gets the ball over to the Dolphins and over to Von Conrad. So again, Coach Finger talked about trying to pick up the pace here so we can get some offensive plays run as Clark took off just over about 3.5 minutes on their first drive, 3 plays. So Conrad with Jolich behind him. He's got 2 receivers left and right. Handoff up the middle. Jolich
Nice
with an opening.
Luke.
Oh, he was dragged down by Elijah Embry, but nice first down run. And again, here we go. Conrad just looking over to the sideline, getting that play. And they're back at the line. DeMille to the top, Duhan in the slot. Joseph Gray, wide receiver to the right. Conrad back to pass with plenty of time, whips it over just out of the hands of Barry Gordon. I think that 8-mile-an-hour wind did actually gust up to 16 as that ball was headed out to Gordon. So brings up a 3rd and 3. I think the Dolphins are likely comfortably in a 4-down mode right here.
I think they are. That's probably my fault. He's probably used to better weather forecasts from his father.
Absolutely. Paul Conrad, 9-time Emmy Award-winning weather person. So Conrad with Jolich directly behind him for a 3rd down, and it looks like Clark is going to take a timeout. Early timeout for Coach Simmons.
This is their first timeout.
So Clark Eagles taking a timeout. Coach Simmons didn't like what he had to see on a critical 3rd down play here early in the game. Eight minutes left in the first quarter. Jack, what'd you put on your calendar for getting out here for today's game? You have put important meeting.
For the afternoon, team outing.
Oh yeah, I like that. I mean,
team outing.
Offsite, important offsite meeting. Yeah, I was. I gotta tell a couple white lies to get out here today without getting a whole lot of scrutiny. So Conrad, Jolich behind him, UN security force up front. Dale, the center. Gordon in motion. Conrad, handoff to Jolich. Jolich met in the hole, but drives forward for the 1st down.
1st down, Dolphins.
Good job up front, so they're going to get back on the ball. So where I did mention, actually, I'm going to get our lineup because we actually are missing. I think, yeah, we're missing MJ Wood. So nice job, Jolich, fighting through. Good vision all the way down to the 20-yard line. Another 1st down. Another 1st down on the ground for the Dolphins.
Nice play, pulling guard Juan Cepeda. Nice block.
Yeah, we'll have to. I think we had a number change. Jolich again with the ball. Positive pickup before he is brought down. Gain of about 5, I think, on the play. So, yeah, Marquise Woods is not in the lineup. He was a guy that we were concerned about being able to make a start. So Woods is out. The rest of the line is as expected. There's Von Conrad on the run, picks up some positive yardage before he is met by the linebacking core of the Eagles. Yeah, I don't think our number, I think we had a number change probably because
53?
it's 53, which could be Adrian Del Villar. He's listed in our program as 54, but I think that could be Adrian Del Villar. We might send some of our spies down there to check it out. So third down, 3rd and 2. Dolphins need to get to the 12-yard line, so going to be the second consecutive, well, not second, but second third down try on this drive. 6:15 left here in the first quarter. Conrad at quarterback. He has Jolich next to him. Jolich on his left. Wide receivers 3 to the top. Hand off to Jolich. Jolich with the ball and the first down inside the 5-yard line. So good piece of blocking over there. Right-hand side of that Dolphin line with Paracchini and Cepeda putting some helmets on people. Ball is at the 6, so 1st and goal. Conrad collecting the play. He's got Bardsma as a receiver, Will the Thrill DeMille as a receiver, Quinn Duhan also in. That is his receiving core. Dolphins have been successful on the ground so far. Jolich directly behind Conrad. Jolich with the ball. Jolich with blockers. Jolich in the end zone for a touchdown.
Touchdown, Luke Jolich.
Nice job. I saw Oshesky out there with a good block. Jolich using his vision and getting the Dolphins on the board here. 5:19 left in the first quarter. Dolphins on top, 6-0.
It looks like our doctors are back in the operating room, Barry.
Yes, they are off the golf course and back in. Dr. Barrett at long snapper, Dr. Conrad, the holder, Dr. Solomon Bradley, 13 of 14 so far on point after attempts. Perfect snap, perfect hold, perfect kick, and the Dolphins are up 7-0.
The kick is good.
It's a nice drive, just over 3 minutes, picked up 3 first downs, kept the ball on the ground. Good start to the game.
Good start to the game. I'm just trying to keep my, it's hard to concentrate when we constantly have these kids that we have to try to tackle and not take out all of our stuff.
We're trying to fortify more and more here, but nothing can stop the teenage brain from doing what it wants to do.
That prefrontal cortex, man, it's just Swiss cheese. Swiss cheese. We love you, Whitney Young Dolphins students. So Solomon Bradley gonna tee it up for a second time today.
Yeah, some of the Dolphin students, these are just, speaking of my kids, they're some of the smartest, dumbest kids, or maybe the dumbest, smartest kids. I don't know which one.
And either combination can just be, no, please go around. You should have seen the look of, no, don't walk through here. Go around. There's the kick. It's sailing deep, and it's sailing into the end zone for a touchback for Solomon Bradley. So the Eagles, who went 3 and out on their first possession, had a 3rd and short where it looked like Jolich shot through for the tackle.
Mark down at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10, Michelle Clark.
I'm looking for Anthony Spivey, but I haven't seen him yet on the field, number 1. He's a guy that shouldered a big part of the load in their first 4 games. Again, a guy who is a Chicago Public League second teamer. So could be that he is out. Number 7 is Henderson. He has Reynolds next to him in the backfield. 2 receivers top and bottom. Henderson gonna flip it out and over the top of his intended receiver. I think he was trying to get it to DeJuan Hill over there on the right-hand side.
Looks like we have Bennett Ross checking in at a corner position.
All right, so Ross at a corner. There's Delviar in number 54. So I will have to, actually, you know what? I bet it is. I bet that's Iokunle Allen Espinoza playing line, because they had talked about him being in a spot, and he wears number 33, so he probably had to switch out jerseys to play on the line, something that Alex Dale would sometimes have to switch out of his if they were going to put him down into a line position. So second down, Henderson, the quarterback, running back to his right, two receivers top and bottom. Clark looking to pass again. He got a receiver open, but Solomon Bradley out there in coverage. So Salo checking into the defensive lineup, the crack kicker and punter, who also has seen a bunch of defensive reps as well. Looks like he's in the safety slot. He and Duhan starting safeties, Maxwell Warner, and as you mentioned, Duras as the corners right now. Yolich, Joseph Gray leading tacklers, both tackles total and tackles for loss, are your middle linebackers. John Spellers, who had a huge sack, so we're just going to call it that, huge sack in that Lane game. He's already checked in at 1D end along with Delviar. Dale and Oshevsky currently your inside line. So third down, two incomplete passes in a row now for Clark. Inside handoff, Yolich tracking,
short.
And then, oh, good power run, but Duhan Bradley over on the end of that tackle along with Yolich.
Cleaned up by the pod of Dolphins?
That was enough. Like, yeah, sure, pod. Darn right,
Good
pod of Dolphins. So Clark, a pickup of about 6 on that, but they're going to turn it over to their punt team.
Dolphin punt return is in.
Yep, so both Brandon Dockett and Duhan going deep and moving up a little bit now. So they're just around the 50-yard line. First snap was sort of a blooper. We'll see how this one goes to the Clark punter.
The Dolphins
another blooper
here.
And
taken down.
Tackled. And ball is going to come over to the Dolphins on downs. That was a nice job. Looked like, trying to see, was that, I think it was Rayton Scottmere. Rayton Scottmere in, and it was something where the punter wasn't going to get away, so then he just tackled him. So it was, a pop-up fielded by the punter. Dolphins all over him. Dolphins going to take over at the 16-yard line. Dolphins ready again to go fast here. DeMille, Duhan, your receivers to the left. Conrad, handoff up the middle. Maxwell Warner gets spun down immediately by the linebacker core. Looked like number 53, Amarje Devine, a second-team all-CPL guy last year. It's just...
The students continue to invade. I chatted with members of the Dolphins special teams units this week, and they were hoping to make something happen on the punt block. I'm glad to see that that came through.
Good opportunity there. So DeMille, Duhan on the bottom. Handoff to Warner. Warner trying to get to the outside. He's keeping his feet alive.
Nice play.
Ushered out of bounds. Got back to about the original line of scrimmage on that. So good penetration by the left-hand side of the Clark defensive line. Going to bring up third and long. 3rd and 11.
3rd and long. Dolphins.
So Conrad gets the play. Again, Dolphins up 7-0 here. Just over 3 minutes left in the first quarter. It's a battle. It's a battle in the stands. DeMille, Gordon, Duhan to the top. Conrad looking to his right. He's got
Bardsma
wide open, but again, that 8-mile-an-hour wind gusted to 13 miles an hour and just out of the hands of Brandon Bardsma. Not Brandon, that's his brother.
No, Miles Barsma.
Yep. So what we get here is an opportunity for Solomon Bradley and the Doctors to execute on a field goal try. So the ball is resting at the 17-yard line. So snap and hold going to go down at the 24 for a 34-yard try. Kick is up. Kick is good. Solomon Bradley knocking it home and putting the Dolphins up 10-0 here with 2:45 left in the first quarter.
Great operation, great kick. That would have been good for another 10 yards out.
Yep. Good job, Solomon Bradley. No hesitation there by Coach Finger. Kind of have an idea coming in what the range of the kickers will be each direction, and he knew that Solomon Bradley had that in his bag.
Special teams making the difference so far.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you get that punt, block, slash, tackle, a solo field goal from 34 yards. And the Dolphins are on top here. Third week of Chicago Public League Red action. We'll talk more at halftime about how all these teams are shaking out right now. Dolphins tied atop the standings. Four other teams undefeated right now. Bradley just hammered that thing. Almost made the back line of the end zone on the fly. So I think he had some adrenaline after nailing that field goal.
I think he did. Touchback.
So good job by the Dolphins. 2 defensive stands right off the bat here in the first quarter. And 2 offensive scores. First one was a short touchdown run by Yolich. Second one was the field goal by Solomon Bradley.
Dolphins rotating some defensive position. Miles Barsma back at corner. Maxwell Warner, other corner.
Yep, and I think we'll see a little bit of that movement. I think Andrew Latham in at the safety slot. Inside handoff to Clark. And Nick Dale, Cepeda. That, my friend, is a pod.
That's a pod. A proper pod.
So Clark, offensive line.
2nd and 5.
Still pushed that out. So got a little push there in the end. And Clark is going to speed it up. All right. So Clark going with a little muddle huddle. They're already back at the line of scrimmage. So down 10-0. They know they got to put their foot on the gas a little bit here. Handoff.
Nice.
And met and dropped. Joseph Gray.
Football player.
Nice job from his linebacker position, shooting through there. Loss of 2, so Gray came in with 7.5 tackles for loss. Make that 8.5 now.
3rd and 7.
So 3rd and 7. Clark has not been able to dial up any positive passing plays. Say that 5 times fast. So Henderson, the senior quarterback, brings the play in from the sidelines. I have not seen Spivey yet, so that he's not in the game, not able to play today. That could be an issue. That, let's see, Clark, okay, so Clark's lining up. They are tight under center, 1 running back deep. Back to pass.
Good pressure.
Out of the pocket, Nick Dale eventually on the end, and I think Aaron Champion.
What a flag from the side judge.
So we'll wait to see what the call is here. I think it's a preliminary signal holding against Clark. And the official signal holding against Clark declined by the Dolphins. A couple yards lost in that play, so that pushes Clark back. So it'll be 4th down, 4th and 8. Clark punting unit coming onto the field.
Punt block team coming on. Vanuatu Ross, Jacob Wildermuth.
Jacob Wildermuth trying to get into the.
He wants to get back in the stats for a sack, not a tackle for loss.
I think the
Godfather.
Punter backed up a couple steps, so
get there.
Gets delivered. Punt is away cleanly, and rolling down at the 41-yard line.
I think we have a roughing the punter, roughing the kicker.
Okay. Good eye. I was not watching that. So one challenge with a high snap and a operation that takes a while to develop is that you get some people in that area. So if it is in fact a roughing the punter, that will probably put the Dolphin defense back on the field, and that's who's out there right now. So I haven't seen the official signal, but it looks like Clark's offense is coming back out, and the Dolphin defense remains on the field.
Yeah, Dolphins had a chance to get the block, but didn't quite get there and ran into the kicker.
All right, 43 seconds left here in the first quarter. Again, Jolich touchdown on the first drive of the day for the Dolphins. And then after a turnover on Dowell, actually after the punt situation where we tackled their punter, Dolphin offense wasn't able to dial up a whole lot, but Solomon Bradley was able to dial up a 34-yard field goal. So it puts us at 10-0 here, 43 seconds left in the first quarter. So Clark takes over.
Looks like they're going to go for it here on 4th down.
Okay, so so it was just a 5-yard penalty from the original spot. Quarterback gets a spot and slides to his left. Jolich making the tackle, but I think enough for a first down. So that was a nice run by Michael Henderson. They'd pretty much been running to the right-hand side. They had the line stacked to the right-hand side, and Henderson was able to find a small opening and got off to his left and a first down. So 4th down pickup. Coach Simmons feeling like at this stage of the game, even though it's the first quarter down 10-0, he's got a squad that has played competitively its first 2 Chicago Public League Red Division weeks after wins in the first 2 weeks of the year. Henderson now with running backs to his right and left. And that time expires on the first quarter here. Okay, so we talked on the open about trying to get the offense rolling again after last week. An interesting thing about last week's game, Whitney Young, 14-13 winners. Jack, I think we probably have talked about this. How many plays did Whitney Young run in lane territory last week?
I am not as good as the stats as Brian Bear. I think it was either 0 or 1.
Yeah, well, it ended up being 2 total plays in lane territory, and those plays were a holding penalty and a punt.
Wow.
So, because the scoring plays were the pick 6 by BG3, and then the 50-yard run, which is on 4th down. So that was a flip run. Quinn Duhan, who hit the Jets and outran the lane defense. So that was outside of lane territory. It was right on the midfield stripe. So those were not often that you can run 2 plays and one of those a penalty and one of those a punt in the opposing team's territory and still come out with a win.
I think we were fortunate, and what an exhilarating game that was.
So
Friday night at Lane
so
Stadium.
much fun. So it was a short week. I know preparing for the live stream, I had to crank everything up by a couple days.
We got the Dolphin here. The Dolphin mascot is in the stadium.
So Henderson, quarterback for Clark. He has running backs to his right and left. High snap, running back met. Got some forward progress though. So Champion, Warner, and Latham bring down the Clark runner after a gain of 8 yards. Try to do a better job. Really tough to get these Clark running back numbers. But you got DeMarcus Reynolds back there. He's number 2. Reynolds number 2. Henderson, your quarterback. Also have Nyland Weaver out there. We'll see where Weaver lines up. Clark back in there, taking their time, getting in and out of the huddle. Thank you. Thank you.
We have some Whitney Young students helping us enforce our
second and
boundaries
short
here.
Henderson back to pass. BG3 on the pursuit and
Luke.
brought down by Yolich. So Barry Gordon had the initial pursuit. Yolich hit the speed and brought down Henderson for a big loss. So that was a 2nd and 2. That is all the way back beyond the 30-yard line, marking at the 29-yard line. So Clark needs to get out to the 42. So they've got a 3rd and 13 now with the wind behind them. So good job, BG3, birthday boy last week. Coming off the edge, Yolich from his inside linebacker position. Yolich said, hey, I'm trailing Gray by 4.5 in the TFL's a tackle for loss department. Maybe mark me down for 1. So Tony McHale, as you're going through the tape this week, putting those together, give Mr. Yolich, number 2, a tackle for loss, senior linebacker. Clark coming out with everybody right in the middle of the line of scrimmage, inside handoff, push to the outside. There's Bardsman doing a nice job, and great Duhan, straight out of a cannon from Akron with the tackle.
Mach 5, Duhan, great pursuit angle, great tackle.
Good job by Bardsma, holding the edge, and then Yolich, or then Duhan from his safety position. Duhan, again, like his last 2 years has been either the leading tackler, second leading tackler on the team. Really does a nice job in run support as well as being a ball hawk on the back end.
The very successful so far Whitney Young Dolphin punt return team is in.
So Clark going to try to kick this away. You got Dockett and Duhan deep. Holding on the inside. We'll see if it gets called. That's Duhan. He gets tackled immediately, but in Eagle territory. I don't know if that was, looked like maybe Arlen Cooper, although he's a freshman. Whoever had a really good charge up the middle got completely tackled, but I think the refereeing crew is going to give this Clark punt unit as much leeway as they can. So Conrad, it's a 3rd Dolphin possession here. 8:45 left in the first half. Duhan in motion, handoff to Warner. Warner keeps his legs going.
Max.
Warner on his way to the end zone. Touchdown for Maxwell Warner. 45-yard touchdown.
Touchdown, no flags.
You were waiting for the call there. Warner's contact up the middle on number 9 on Albert Scott knocked Scott's helmet off. And Max kept his legs going in the All-American triple jumper. Records a 45-yard touchdown run. Max Warner
Is there a rule for the Dolphins? Anyone whose his birthday gets to score a touchdown?
So far, so good. We'll have to check that. Between the dew point and birthdays.
It's like the
Clark, yeah, I think there's a conversation from the coach, but I think I was wondering if he was saying that something happened earlier in the play that helmet came off, but we're just guessing. Snap from Barrett, Dr. Conrad, Dr. Bradley into the wind this time. Hammers it home. That would have been good from 40. So 17-0. With 8:31 left on this homecoming Thursday.
Great, powerful run by Mr. Outside. Actually took the ball inside and scored a touchdown on his birthday.
Yeah, and a good job of just keeping it moving. I mean, there was good blocking up front. He got to the second level where he was met by that linebacker, but he just sort of bounced off him, got reoriented, and took it home for the touchdown. So Dolphins getting on top early. Again, this is a team that came in 736 yards so far on the season rushing. So leaders there, Jolich came in with 144 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. He was averaging 8.5 yards a carry. Warner, 173 yards. So Warner adds to his team leading total. He's over 200 yards for the year with his 4th touchdown. That was Maxwell Warner's 4th touchdown on the year. Yeah, Joseph Gray, who we haven't seen in the backfield yet today, but he had a big game against Johnson. He's got 119 yards, 2 touchdowns on the season. And also number 4, Aaron Champion, over 100 yards, 113 yards and a touchdown. And don't forget Von Conrad. Conrad's been very successful running the ball. He already has 120 yards on the ground this year with 2 touchdowns. Von through the air, 18 of 37 for 184 yards. So it's a little tough today. It is windy. And you have to see you get a lead in the game, but it would be nice to see the Dolphins start to employ a little more of the passing attack as well when they get the ball back. So Clark getting themselves organized.
Looks like we may have had a unsportsmanlike maybe on the Clark coach.
Yep, so they've moved the kick up to the Clark 45-yard line. And that would be a 15-yard penalty. I'm going to go with your educated guess on that one.
Well, looks like it was just a mistake.
Or a mistake.
Just a mistake.
I mean, it was lined up at the 45, but which would be a 15 yards off. But Solomon Bradley, number 37, going to put it at the 40. Kicking into the wind. Clark looks like I can't get either one of those numbers of the returners.
That's a tough color combination. The yellow with the white.
The whisper, the yellow. Thinking you have well, I'm going to say that is not Anthony Brooks, but there's a kickoff deep. It's going to check up, and that ball is not going to go into the end zone, and he's going to be tackled right at the line. So the Clark receiver thought that ball was going to roll into the end zone, but it didn't. It took a left-hand turn. And Andrew Latham and the rest of the kick coverage unit were down there.
Down to the 6-yard line, 1st and 10.
Ball is at the 6-yard line.
I don't know if Solomon Bradley is a golfer. If not, he might take it up.
Yep, he popped that 9-iron out there. Checked it up at the 6-yard line. So Clark lucky to end up with the ball back after that. And I don't know if the receiver sort of lost where he was on the field. You've got some extra lines out there for the soccer stadium and the pickleball courts. Could have been distracted from that.
Pickleball courts are taking over Rockne as well.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere. Jack, you can't. Don't leave home without it. So Clark's going to take their second timeout. They looked like they were caught in between a shift change on that. So second timeout by the Clark Eagles here. We've got 8:26 left. Dolphins leading 17-0. If you were hard at work until now, you want to get caught up on the action. Jolich with a 5-yard touchdown run on the first drive. So some nice. That was pretty much the Luke Jolich show in getting the first downs down the field, matriculating down the field for that touchdown. Then a Bradley 34-yard field goal, and then a Maxwell Warner 45-yard touchdown run. Clark has, other than, actually I don't think Clark has a first down off the top of my head.
They've had a couple good first down plays, but I believe you're correct.
Yeah, I think they've had some good gains, but haven't been able to string together a drive. They do give you a bunch of different looks. So while they go into that bunch formation, now they're in a complete spread location formation. 3 receivers top, 1 to the bottom. Pitch.
Oh, get there.
Out the hands, and John Spellers, you got on top of that ball. Spellers for a touch. They're going to call a safety. So Clark ended up with the ball back. I think Spellers was looking at the runner and lost track of the ball. Was on the ground. So John Spellers, the basketball player turned football player, could have gotten in the. Well, we'll give him the scorebook. I think he and Jolich were back there. Somebody got that safety.
Someone will get credit for the safety. I don't know. It seemed like the running back didn't know it was going to be a sweep, or maybe did. It was a tough play for the Clark.
So a tough day so far for Coach Simmons and the Clark Eagles. Seemed like they arrived a little bit late and have not quite gotten dialed in on this game. So we'll see, and we'll go back and look at the tape. We're gonna say it's a Jolich and John Spellers on the safety. We'll give them a point each. How about?
The Dolphin kickoff return team gets back on the field. They haven't been in action much this year. So as we get to the meatier part of the schedule, this is hopefully a good rep.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that at halftime. So Kenwood, we don't want to look at that game just yet, but we will talk about Kenwood. It'll be a rematch of the Chicago Public League Championship game. Teams, definitely different. Dolphins graduated 10 key seniors from last year. A lot of bunch of D1 guys on that Kenwood team that are not there anymore, but they're a solid team. So we'll get a little bit more into what we'll be facing next week against the Broncos. Right now, 19-0, 8:15 left here in the first half. There's a line drive kick, fielded across the 50 with a head of steam.
Arian
Cabral gonna take it in for a touchdown.
Ouch. Good blocking by the Dolphins there.
Arian Cabral, the sophomore, 5'9", 155-pounder. He's got some action in already this year, so he was back there, I think, in place of Duhan on the kickoff return unit after that safety.
It's fired out of a cannon.
He saw a lane, and he saw the touchdown, and he took it to the house. First career varsity touchdown, Arian Cabral.
I want to see that again there was a big lane for him there, and he didn't hesitate. I want to see that again on the replay.
So 25-0, back-to-back scoring plays, and really back-to-back-to-back scoring plays, right? Because we had the touchdown run, then it was the kickoff. The ensuing play was the safety, and now the kickoff return for a touchdown by Cabral. So we've got 3 consecutive, other than if we toss out the kickoff from the last time, 3 out of 4 plays, we'll call it, as being touchdowns. Dr. Barrett going to snap to Dr. Conrad. The kick by Dr. Yeah, it was good. One guy entirely missed it. I was looking at the referees, and one guy, I don't know why, I think it was right through the middle. And he looked over at the other guy, and I'm not quite sure either one looked up. But so Cabral with probably pick that up around we'll call it we're just estimating here, a 55-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. And Bradley with the PAT to put the Dolphins up 26-0 here. Still in the first half at the 8-minute mark. Wow.
Flurry of scoring for the Dolphins.
Absolute flurry. Clark is not showing a lot of hustle right now. My apologies to Clark fans out there. But just not a whole lot of urgency to get in their positions here on the kickoff return side. Here's the kick from Bradley. Kick is gonna bounce and go out of bounds.
Almost another good, well-placed kick.
Yep, so he was trying with the 9-iron to stick it over there. Albert Scott let that thing go out of bounds. Actually, I think it was DeMarcus Reynolds.
Yeah, I think that puts us at 16 points in 24 seconds, if I'm remembering
that sounds about right.
The clock.
So good job. Some contributions here. And again, some of these guys got some reps earlier in the year as people like Barry Gordon, Maxwell Warner battling through some injuries. So good to see, one, the team healthy, but two, some of these guys that got some time in those early games and also some key snaps in the follow-up games, giving the Dolphins some depth that you always need throughout a season. I formation for Clark. Handoff goes to the tailback. Joseph Gray, the football player, meets him in the hole and drops him. Gain of 2 yards. So again, from film, we were expecting to see a lot of Anthony Spivey, but we have not seen him on the field number 1. Trying to see if he is on the sidelines or not. Also see, it looks like Anthony Brooks on the sidelines, number 11, and Brooks was a second teamer on defense. So we might be facing a decimated crew. There's the handoff to number 2, and number 2 and number 4 erase number 2. That was Yolich and Champion tackling DeMarcus Reynolds in the backfield. No gain on the play, so going to come up with 3rd down here.
Yeah, to amplify your point, Barry, that was the scouting we received from the Godfather, Tony McHale, this week. On a short week, Michelle Clark might have been dinged up coming out of their last game.
So defensive line, you got Delviar, Oshesky, and Spellers at that outside linebacker position. Aaron Champion going to be out. So Eagles going to a spread offense. 2 receivers top, 2 on the bottom. Henderson, your quarterback. Henderson back to pass. He's got some time.
Maxwell Warner with a
good
potential
coverage out there. I think a little bit of a misread there. I think that Henderson thought the receiver was breaking on an out route. Jaden Taylor cut it in, and Clark facing a 4th and 8. Looks like they're going to bring out their punt unit. So been a special teams and the running game have been cooking for the Dolphins. So Dolphins with a tackling a punter on a possession earlier, and then the kickoff return. High snap. Good job of the Clark kicker getting it away immediately. Duhan going to let it bounce, and that thing goes all the way down to the Dolphin 25-yard line. So good punt, and that was I mean, a good job. He had 3 or 4 Dolphins rushing in, and the Clark punter was able to get that away quickly and flip the field, get his defense 75 yards behind their back as the Dolphins, led by quarterback Von Conrad, march back on the field. And we have AC/DC turning us over at 6:07 left here in the second quarter. Conrad got Joseph Gray to his left, checking in. Conrad back to pass. Conrad rifles it over just out of the hands of Rayton Scottmere.
2nd and 10. Dolphins.
So we did say we want to see if can get the passing game going. A little tough in the windy conditions that we have here, but again, you're not gonna face nice weather. I mean, this is a beautiful temperature day. When you start turning the calendar toward October, it's always crazy in these games where you go from just battling the heat to the end of the year when you're dealing with rain and snow conditions. There's Gray. Gray
Nice,
putting
Joseph.
Clark on his back out across the 30 to the 32-yard line. So we saw Joseph Gray in that Johnson game just going north and south.
3rd and 4.
He did it on that play as well. Again, I think we have Iakunle Allen Espinosa in on the offensive line, starting in place of MJ Woods. So thought was that maybe Cepeda would kick out to a tackle, but Allen Espinosa out there. Joseph Gray doing a nice job keeping his feet. Getting it out. I think they're marking it as a first down.
First down, Dolphins.
Good job by Gray. He got immediate contact, but kept his feet. And so now the Dolphins are going to crank it up again. Go a little no-huddle look. Jonathan Ejimokin in at wide receiver. Conrad handoff to Joseph Gray. Gray tripped up, but gets out to the 40-yard line. Good shoestring tackle there on the D line of the Clark Eagles.
Some new names in there. Looks like Sheldon Williams in at one receiver.
Okay, yeah, I think I said E.G. Mockin, but it's actually
Yeah,
Williams.
He's also in, number 80,
Okay.
E.G. Mockin.
Conrad with Joseph Gray on his right. Conrad did a nice job pulling that out to Barry Gordon. Barry Gordon with some blockers out there. Gordon still on his
Nice
feet
play.
out to the 45-yard line. So nice little RPO there by Von Conrad. Got the read and threw a dart out to BG3. Those two connected on a 2-point conversion last week. Good look by number 12, showing off some arm strength there into the wind. Nice play design. Junior quarterback. Now the give to Gray. Gray dragged down, minimal gain, gets out to the Clark 45-yard line. So 4 minutes left here in the first half. Dolphins up 26-0. E.G. Mockin, receiver to the top, along with Rayton Scottmere and Barry Gordon at the tight end position. Handoff
there
to Joseph Gray. Gray looking for the corner. Picks up about 4 around the edge. So brings up a 3rd down. Dolphins need to get to the 36-yard line.
3rd and 5. Dolphins.
Nick Dale, Cepeda, and Paracchini up the middle. Pass completed again to Barry Gordon. First down. Barry fights it out to the 35-yard line. Gets the first down, so good job, Von Conrad. Getting it out to his tight end. 2 straight completions here for the Dolphins.
Nice.
And back on the ball and ready to go. Von Conrad got the mojo going. Sheldon Williams, Scottmere. Vaughn going to keep it himself. Nice run up the middle. Vaughn keeping his feet, picking
Vaughn
up a
Conrad,
block.
the
Vaughn
wheels.
Conrad finding the end zone. Oh,
Close.
knocked out at the 2-yard line. So good job by Vaughn.
First and goal, Dolphins.
Good job, Vaughn Conrad. 2 straight completions, and then had the Clark Eagles on their heels. Took it himself. Conrad going to get under center. I got money in Vegas on what this is going to be. Conrad behind the Serbian sledgehammer. Nick Dale into the end zone for a touchdown. So Conrad, after a nice run, gets pushed out at the 2. Follows that up with a run up the middle behind all conference center, the Serbian sledgehammer Nick Dale.
A nice mix of running and passing plays on that drive. High snap. Didn't matter.
Hammers it home. 4 for 4 on PATs today for Solomon Bradley and a field goal. So Bradley's got himself 7 on the day. Vaughn Conrad's got himself 6 on that touchdown run. So 33-0 here. Whitney Young over Clark. Just getting to the end of the first half. I do think it was an admirable effort. I really appreciate it. It's amazing what people. It's amazing how people are sneaking through in front of our camera. They're sort of doing like a pause step, like, oh, well, that's enough of me acknowledging that I shouldn't do this, and now I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Swiss cheese on the prefrontal cortex. Principal Ricky Harris. We're going to have to teach an etiquette class here before homecoming next year. So 33-0. Clark. And I'm not just making this stuff up. This is a team that played Simeon, which is, Cinque Turner is a head coach from Kenwood. Historically, he's over at Simeon now. That's a great program. Clark fought them to a 16-6 game just a couple weeks ago. Nice tackle on the sidelines by Fabrizio Bell. Fabrizio Bell getting a tackle. Looks like the Dolphins have a few others checking in. We're at to get some. I think I've seen number 18 in. I wonder if that's. I think is 18 Kenneth Gaden. I think 18 might be. But 33-0, 2:23 left here in the first half. Dolphin defense is having its way. Efren Solano checking in at the nose tackle position. Del VR, Spellers. And yeah, I don't know. We have to figure out who 18 I'm going to call. He's playing a D-line position. Might be, I think it is Kenneth Gaden. He's listed as that kind of crazy running back / D-line. Getting in the trenches. So Clark kind of trying to figure this out. They've got 3 receivers to the top side. Running back next to Henderson in the backfield. Flips it over, low pass, incomplete.
Pass is incomplete.
On first down.
2nd and 10. Michelle Clark.
So Henderson gonna head over. Talk to his head coach. False start. I think they had, again, on the organization front, the 3 receivers off on the left-hand side. I'm not sure that they were fully set over there before Henderson had the snap count going.
Penalty, replay, first down.
So 2:18 left here in the first half.
A great scene here at Rockne Stadium. The Dolphin brass band is here.
Are the woodwinds here too?
I do not see any woodwind. We have percussion.
We have oboes. Are there oboes?
I do not. No, I do not see it. Looks like all brass.
All right, so
we have a saxophone, so that's a woodwind.
3 receivers to the left, 1 on the bottom. Henderson looking to throw deep. Now he's keeping himself, and he's tackled by John Spellers. Spellers showing some of that speed off of that D end outside linebacker position. I think Henderson might be down after that hit. So Clark appears to have come in today rather beat up, and the beat goes on here as they have Henderson down. Their trainers are out taking a look at him. Still trying to find my guy Anthony Spivey on the sidelines, but haven't seen him. Sam, trainer for Whitney Young, heading out there as well. Remy taking out a few Whitney Young students here. Jack, I'm heading down to Indiana University tomorrow.
Down to Bloomington.
Down to Bloomington, where Bennett Newman is a freshman. Gonna check in on Bennett, who's working for the Hoosier football program, the undefeated Indiana Hoosier football program right now. First-year head coach Kirk Signetti has got the Hoosiers on a roll. They play Maryland this weekend, so Hoosiers coming in with an opportunity to really position themselves well. They've got to do it right now in their schedule, right? So they have Maryland this week. They travel on the road up here to Northwestern next week. Then their schedule gets kind of brutal. I mean, I think they've got Washington in there. They've got Michigan State. They have Ohio State. Sorry, Bennett. You told me the schedule last night. I'm not. And I know they end of the year with Purdue, so which is very much a winnable game the way the Hoosiers are playing right now. But I think Penn State is in there as well, and so we got some challenging games. But good to see the Big Ten. A few guys in the Chicago area that are on the radar for Indiana. I know somebody that we'll see next week. A.T. Taylor, the defensive lineman for Kenwood, is somebody that has an offer from Indiana. I know he has an offer also from Miami of Ohio. I've seen it listed somewhere that he's committed to Miami, but I'm not quite sure. I think that's still an open book. So Kenwood D-line will be led by A.T. Taylor next week, and he will be playing on Saturdays next year. Dolphins end up taking a timeout there. They thought we needed more time to talk about things. So after that big long stoppage in play for the injured quarterback, the Dolphins take a timeout.
We'll talk a little Indiana just to be more. They have Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State back to back later in the year.
Oh yeah, they have Nebraska as well. So this is where they got to get things done, right? So Maryland this week, Northwestern, and I'm a Northwestern fan. That'll be tough because Northwestern needs that game from a bowl eligibility standpoint.
Are you going to attend that one?
Yeah, probably. We'll have to see. I mean, do we have a game that day?
We do. That's going to be a conflict maybe.
Yeah. I mean, my priority is with the Whitney Young Dolphins, and then after that, it gets a little scattered. But yeah, they need to get those. And then they end the season at Purdue, but that middle stretch, Nebraska, Washington, at Michigan State, hosting Michigan at home. They get a bye week. You get a bye week between Michigan and Ohio State. The Big Ten schedule makers are like, hey, we're going to put Michigan and Ohio State in, but we're going to give you a bye week in between. It'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong? All right, so second down and long. We'll have to check. Looks like Henderson's back in at quarterback. Luke Yolich with a tackle in the backfield.
Timeout. Dolphins.
So Coach Finger wants to get his offense back on the field one more time this half, taking a timeout.
He might be trying to get to that magical 40 number.
40 number and get the clock rolling.
Whitney Young.
Then I got to speed up. I mean, I've got stories
yeah.
to tell, man. If
Well,
all of a sudden I got to do it with a running clock, man.
We have a halftime, good halftime break.
We do, and you know, a little bit of a challenge too, because a few of the Whitney Young sports, either if they had stuff, they haven't posted it on social media, so it'll be a little light. Although I know that Coach Val Spann did get me the update on the flag football team earlier. I'm going to check to see if I did not get, even though it was promised to me, a soccer update. I did not get a soccer update, but we've got some stuff. We got some stuff to talk about, and I do think I want to talk more about the Chicago Public League and where Whitney Young is sort of heading in those standings, what we might have to see out of some of the top competitors in this league. We'll talk more about that Morgan Park Kenwood game last weekend. That was the matchup of the teams that I think the prognosticators, is that a proper word?
That's it. Prognosticators
have sort of slotted in the top spots in the Chicago Public League. We may have something to say about that, but definitely Morgan Park ranked 19th in the Chicagoland area, loaded up with a bunch of D1 guys, and have played a pretty challenging schedule. They beat Kenwood last weekend. So Clark, quarterback, rolling to his right. Quinn Duhan.
Nice tackle.
At the shoestrings, bringing him down. So it does look like Cunningham is out. And Coach Finger is going to take his last timeout. So that was Mohamed Toure. Toure playing the quarterback position after Henderson went out. So Coach Finger calling that timeout. 1:27 left here in the second quarter. Going to be a fourth down play for Clark.
Dolphin punt return / punt block team taking the field.
Yeah, great afternoon here, Thursday afternoon, so a whole bunch of football in front of us. You got your normal slate of Friday night lights games tomorrow night. You've got college football on Saturday, Sunday. I think we got a London game. I think you got maybe Jets and Jaguars. I don't know. It seems like the Jaguars play in London all the time. The Jets and somebody are playing in London. I think so. You can start your day off with a cup of coffee and an NFL game. Keep it rolling all the way through the weekend.
We have some NFL tonight and also college for Army. The undefeated Army football team.
Well, there you go.
This evening. Great weekend ahead of us.
All right, Clark back for a punt. Punt is short. Punt is miraculously gets it away, and going to bounce out to the 43-yard line. So it's been a bit of an adventure when the and out of bounds. So I think Coach Finger is asking why the clock didn't stop
for some reason,
but the clock is running. 53 seconds. So Conrad was over getting the play. Jolich still trying to check out what it is, and now I think Clark is taking a timeout, which is a timeout, which is stopping the clock for the Dolphin offense, and maybe
maybe there's a collaboration going on to get to that 40
number. Hey, I ran out of. Could I get one of yours? Sure. But yeah, I mean, if you see something out there and you're the head coach or the defensive coordinator, and you do not have the right personnel, the right alignment, it doesn't matter if it's 33-0 in the first half. You still want to do what's best for your guys. So call the timeout, get people in the right positions, make sure they're ready, because the Dolphins are clearly looking to push this ball in the end zone here at the end of the first half.
Yeah, Clark's
So,
defense on that
BG3
play was interesting. It was almost a prevent.
So Jolich next to Conrad. Conrad back to pass. He's got time. He's going. So his receiver slipped. I think that was Bardsma down there. Those guys work out a lot in the off season. He had done a nice little curl, and it was a nice pass. But Bardsma lost his feet. He's saying right now to his buddy Von Conrad, he's like, "That's on me." So 40 seconds left. Wind is definitely gusting to how many knots? How many knots is 16 miles an hour?
I think it's about 18.
18,000 knots.
A lot. Where's Paul Conrad? Let's find him.
We need that. Williams, BG3 to the top side. That's where Conrad's
Up
looking.
top.
He's got BG3 open, but it's intercepted. Intercepted by the safety. Good job reading that play back there. Nylan Weaver. I think Nylan Weaver was back there. BG3 was open for a second. A little bit of air under that ball. And Clark with the interception, thwarting the Dolphins' drive here with 33 seconds left in the first half. So both teams out of timeouts. This should wind pretty quickly here and get us to our halftime show. And it is homecoming, so halftime for the Whitney Young students also is notable during homecoming. Several traditions. Several traditions that go on. The band is here, full cheerleading squad, full student section. Clark just gonna push the ball up the middle where the Dolphin defense, middle of that defensive line, gets the tackle. And I think we'll have the clock probably run out here in the first half. Coach Simmons walking out toward his group. I think he's going to say, let's head over to the sidelines and let's talk it over for the second half. And there you have it, first half. Clock runs out. Dolphins with a comfortable lead, 33-0.
Yeah, pretty penalty. I guess maybe 3 total penalties in the half.
Yep, so good job by the Dolphins, both offensively and defensively and special teams. All areas are contributing. Now we'll see if we can possibly survive halftime.
Yeah, we'll see.
Jack is moving down. He's moving down a level, and I think he's busting out his biceps here. Let's talk about some Whitney Young sports. Let's start there. Golfin' Dolphins qualified for city championships. The girls golf team won their preliminary tournament by a whopping 45 strokes. 45-stroke lead for the Golfin' Dolphins. That team led by Jasmine McGee and Isabel Rosewatt. Kennedy with a low score and a birdie on 5 at Robert Black earlier this week. So Golfin' Dolphins heading to the city championship. Girls tennis with a nice win again this week. They took down the defending city champion, Peyton Grizzlies. So girls tennis stays undefeated. They have a big week this week, and they're facing off against Lane and also into the city championships. I think we've got a longer halftime here. I think they're putting 20 minutes on the halftime clock. Flag football, as I mentioned earlier, Coach Val Spann gave me the update. It was they had their senior day. The flag football just flies along. They play about 4 or 5 games a week. So this week they had wins over Jones. They beat the Jones Eagles 22-6 and defeated Amundsen 30-8. their regular season ended on Tuesday, so finished the regular season with a record of 11-5. Congratulations to the seniors, Simone Dyer, London Higginbottom, Marcella Maddalana. We said Marcella's name many, many times over the course of the last couple years for her contributions, both offensively and defensively. Kayla Mitchell and Abigail Plotka. So London, Marcella, and Abigail are all founding members of the program. So the third year of the Whitney Young flag football program. The Dolphins finished third in the Red North Conference. So city playoffs begin Saturday in 2 days from now. First game is against, and I love this. So Coach Spann sent me this, and I'm going to read her word for word what she said. Our first game is against Back of the Yards, 12:30 at Taft. When we win that game, we play the winner of the Simeon von Steuben game at 3 p.m. State seedings were announced, and we received the number 2 seed in the Whitney Young sectional. The regional games begin October 7th through the 12th. So same sort of thing on the flag football side. You got the city championships, which is fun. You can compete for the city championships. But Whitney Young also qualified on the state side of things as well. Few notes out of the basketball team, boys basketball team. I noticed that Marquise Clark, the junior guard for the Dolphins, picked up an offer this week from St. Louis. So the Billikens extended an offer to quiz the Beast. He is ranked the number 2 Chicagoland prospect right now in the class of 2026. Star on that team, of course, is Antonio Munoz. Antonio seems like he's been on the team for like 12 years, but he's a senior this year, called by some the bounciest player in Illinois.
That guy can get in the air.
He can dunk out of a building.
He's so exciting to watch.
Yeah, so he's got a bunch of offers. He's got offers from Cal, Northern Illinois, Eastern Illinois, Southern Illinois. He's got all the directionals. Indiana State, Tennessee State, among a few others. So we'll look to see where Antonio puts down his basketball wares next year. Also just wanted to note on that, as Xavier Amos, who was on that 2022, graduated 2022, so that was a 21-22 season, team that finished second in the state. He played at NIU, but he transferred to Wisconsin, so he'll be on the Badgers team next year. Xavier averaged 13.8 points, 5.8 rebounds last year with the Huskies at NIU. Football note, Dolphins, we saw Jason Perez last week up in the booth. Then he was on the sideline. So Jason, a freshman at North Park. Jason had an interception over the weekend, and he continues to rise up the depth chart over at North Park, playing inside linebacker. I think he was also named Scout Team Player of the Week. So we'll look forward to seeing a lot of stuff out of Jason this year and in the future. So if we flip over and talk about Chicago Public League football, a few of the notes there. So I talked about how Whitney Young comes in today undefeated. The other undefeated teams in the red division, Lincoln Park, Taft, Morgan Park, and Simeon. Again, they all enter play today at 2-0 in the red division. So as you know, last week, Whitney Young with that big win over Lane at Rockne Stadium. So at the same time, Morgan Park was taking down Kenwood. Final score of that game, 20-0. Morgan Park on top. Morgan Park ranked number 19 in the Chicagoland area. We remember how hot it was that night. They played Saturday. So head coach Chris James of Morgan Park actually passed out during the game. They had to take him off. Yeah.
I believe it. It was that dew point was a killer.
Dew point was hot, humid. But Coach James is okay after the game. Javon Clark, the all-state linebacker. Clark committed to Wyoming. I know he had a boatload of offers from some SEC schools included. Clark had an interception and a sack on the day. Marcus Thaxton, all-conference quarterback. First play out of halftime, hit a 70-yard touchdown to once a Dolphin, always a Dolphin, Nasir Rankin. So Rankin with another touchdown. I think he has a touchdown in all of their games so far this season. Nas, again, who's with the Dolphins his freshman and sophomore years. He picked up offers. He's got about close to, I think he's got over 15 offers right now. Big Ten offers from Northwestern, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan State, Wisconsin, and then some MAC offers and a Duke offer. So Nas Rankin doing a great job down there. Talk about Kenwood a little bit, so we're going to see them next week. Kenwood has a new head coach, so I mentioned Q Turner leaving Kenwood, going back to his alma mater over at Simeon. So Chris Goffer is a new head coach at Kenwood. He was an assistant at Mount Carmel. Kenwood quarterback, sophomore Corey Shavers, was 9 for 20 in that game. He threw 2 interceptions. Isaiah Shannon was the leading running back for Kenwood, carried the ball 15 times for 58 yards. So again, that Kenwood team, I mean, they advanced. They beat Whitney Young last year, advanced to the Prep Bowl where they lost to St. Rita, but always historically a great program. But again, they lost Amarian Stewart to Michigan as a wide receiver. Marquise Lightfoot, who is a huge impact edge rusher. He's playing at the U at Miami. They also, had a kid, Patrick Clax, PC3. Patrick Clax III is playing at Buffalo, so another Division I guy, and Mako Grant, their leading running back. All those guys graduated, and so you got a different crew at Kenwood, which will be a different look. Dolphins Kenwood, that is next Saturday at Lane.
Lane.
Right? At Lane, yep. So
up at Fritz Pollard
Field at Lane Stadium. So other games, so again, Morgan Park over Kenwood, Simeon 28, Phillips 6. So Simeon, as I said, undefeated right now in Red Division play. Taft with a 21-14 win over Amundsen. So we will face both of those teams later this season. So Taft and their coach Elder, led by Steven Carrera. So Carrera had 83 yards on 18 carries with 2 touchdowns. Jaden Padilla. So Padilla and Carrera kind of split carries out of that backfield. Padilla is a guy that has been a major contributor since his freshman year. He's a senior now, but he was out with an injury. He is Padilla in Taft's history, and Taft's history from a football perspective stretches all the way back to the 1920s. So I'm not sure if this is modern day, what they delineate for that, but Padilla is Taft's all-time leader in carries, yards, and touchdowns. So don't know what his injury was, if that's a long-term thing or not, but Carrera also a fascinating story because he's a kid who played his sophomore year with a club on his hand because he 4th of July accident where it blew off a couple of his fingers. Fireworks took out a couple of his fingers, but he's an impact back. He is fast. He can do it inside. He can do it outside. So Padilla was out. Carrera contributed 2 touchdowns in that game. Of course, that defense led by, arguably the best name in Chicago Public League action, Diesel McFadden, son of Darren McFadden. Diesel McFadden committed to Illinois. He's a defensive end for Taft. Also plays a little bit in the backfield. So now again, 21-14 win for Taft over Amundsen. Amundsen did have 5 guys out, including starting quarterback Elmer Jecka. Elmer was a guy that worked out with Bennett Newman and Anthony Hood. So their backup, Smith Beeson, actually had a nice day, 12 for 16, 94 yards, touchdown and interception. Westinghouse with a 30-29 win over Peyton. So Peyton still looking for their first Red Division win, but Westinghouse getting on the board with their first win of the year. Johnson, happy to see Coach Michael Willis. We talked about how they should have 3 or 4 wins already on the year. The Dolphins lucky to survive their game 2 weeks ago here at Rockne against Johnson. Johnson gets a 48-12 win over Hyde Park. And Bulls Prep with a 44 win over Brooks. So that was last week's game. Games this week, you've got Brooks, 1-3 overall, 0-2, taking on Simeon. Simeon's 3-1, and as I mentioned, undefeated in Red Division play. Lincoln Park is traveling to Lane, so that's going to be a fun game. So that you got Lincoln Park coming in undefeated, 4-0 overall. Their first 2 wins against white division opponents, but last 2 wins, they got their red division on the board. A win against Clark and a win against Phillips. So Lincoln Park 4-0, 2-0 in red division. Lincoln Park right now, so far this year, has outscored their opponents 131-10.
That's impressive. It's nice to see, as we talked about last week, there are some kids from Alcott Elementary, I think a couple from Oscar Mayer on that team as well. So.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have them on a regular season schedule, but it's something maybe we see them in the playoffs, not trying to get ahead of things for either our program or the Lions. I will say, I mean, that was a program that was at the white division and had really a hard time putting things together. I watched some of the film of Clark's game against them, and maybe the thing that was the most impressive is I think they had 8 coaches on the sideline, 8 like extremely engaged coaches. And that makes such a huge difference. I mean, again, we talk about Coach Finger and what he's been able to put together here. You know, these are not, it's not like these guys are making any money off of this. In order to have a program and coach, you know, a heck of a lot of players, right? I mean, the Dolphins have 70 players. Lincoln Park has good numbers out. If you want to do that effectively, then you got to have a bunch of coaches on the sidelines. Jack and I are getting our picture taken. That's going to be blowing up on social media right now.
Big time.
So Lincoln Park traveling up to Lane. I mean, we saw number 8 quarterback Noah Myra last week, and he's impressive, man. I mean, we saw him with a long touchdown run. We saw a great pitch and catch. I mean, he threw a really, really nice ball. So Lane has they have some size, they have some speed. I think it'll be interesting because Lincoln Park, again, it's a little bit like Whitney Young. Is like after you play some of these first couple week division opponents, yeah, you put some points on the board, you get some reps for everybody. Hopefully you stay healthy. But then when you get into this meat of the Chicago Public League season, it becomes a little bit different. Then you got to step up your game and show what your offense and defense can do. Other games, Westinghouse traveling to Taft. So Westinghouse 1-1. Again, they got the win last week over Peyton. Taft at 3-1. They are 2-0 overall. Taft is a team we saw a bunch of last year and kind of had our way with them, but we talked about the talent that they have. That'll be our last game of the year. We'll play Taft here at Rockne. So it feels kind of weird. I was talking to Ben and I said, we played up at Taft a couple times. We played them in the playoffs at Lane last year. So it'll be interesting to take on the North Side Taft Eagles down over across town here at Rockne.
Across town, that will be senior night, I believe.
It will be senior night. On Saturday. So those are all the Friday games. Saturday games, Johnson traveling to Morgan Park, Kenwood taking on Hyde Park, and Phillips taking on Bulls Prep. So Jack, at some point I had a page that overviewed some other Chicagoland area games. Let's see if I can find it. I think it might have blown away.
Well, the Whitney Young student section has stopped invading our turf a bit because they're doing a lot of dancing. They were doing some jumping on the bleachers.
I saw you sort of hunker down. Were you worried we were going down with the ship?
It was a little tricky. But now YMCA, there's no jumping in that. I don't think, at least when we were doing it.
All right, so I did find we're probably 3 minutes away from kickoff. Let me give you a couple other games going on around the Chicagoland area. If I was, well, and I can't complain. Well, I'm going to be in Indiana. I was trying to figure out what my excuse was, but I'm going to be in Indiana. Otherwise, I would be up at Prairie Ridge watching the number 6 Cary Grove take on number 22 Prairie Ridge. That game, you could have watched it in 1930, and you can watch it in 2025, and it's going to look exactly the same. Triple option. Those two teams up in the Fox Valley are going to just beat the heck out of each other. Cary Grove, they've won 2 Class A titles in the past 3 seasons. Why is that a big deal? Because they had to beat East St. Louis to win those things. So East St. Louis,
Wow.
best team in the Midwest in Illinois for sure, and they take on a lot of other national powers. But Cary Groves had their way with them. Prairie Ridge, they've had 2 titles and 2 runner-up finishes in 6A as well since 2017. So that is always a fun game, and both of those teams will be, contenders at that state level. You got Joliet Catholic, number 13, going against number 3 Nazareth Academy. So both of those teams 3-1 on the season. Naz led by Indiana commit Garrett Reese. He had 2 interceptions last week against IC Catholic. And James Penley caught 2 touchdown passes from Logan Malachek, who's been at Naz for 45 years. Lincoln Way West traveling to number 11 Naperville Central. Batavia against Wheaton North. So that's we got a flavor of Wheaton North last year in the state playoffs, and you just know how tough they are. Actually, look, their kid Joe Barma, the kid who was their all-state defensive end that we faced last year, he's getting a bunch of playing time at Illinois as a true freshman, already with 1.5 sacks on the year. So Barna down there with Harrison Gossa, both working the edge for the Fighting Illini. But Batavia travels to Wheaton North. So a lot of talent on both sides of that. Again, Wheaton graduated a bunch of their guys, but Dylan Young, who we saw play here at Rockne last week, he had a TD, an interception, a sack, and a tackle for loss against St. Charles East. They also have Providence going against St. Francis. That's a Friday night game. Brady Palmer, the quarterback out at St. Francis, he had 281 yards and 2 touchdowns last week, including a 98-yard touchdown. That's good for the stats. A little 98-yarder to Tanner Glock, as St. Francis actually, after their big win over Loyola, they actually dropped that decision, a 31-13 loss to St. Rita. Rita really playing well already on the year. So if we look across some of the other top games, Lincoln Way East, led by Jonas Williams, the junior quarterback already committed to Oregon. They play against Homewood Flossmoor. Homewood Flossmoor with a nice team, not ranked right now, but a very talented, athletic Southside team. Also want to mention Lake Forest. Quarterback Danny Van Camp doing a nice job up there. Another one of the guys out of the QB1 Byron Dawkins stable. Mentioned the quarterback for Amundsen, Elmer Jacob. Bennett Newman, also a QB1 product. Jack DeFilippis, who was the Maine South quarterback last year, is now down at DePaul. So Danny Van Camp leading the Lake Forest, Scouts. Lake Forest Scouts.
Nice pull.
Leading them to a 4-0 record. They're going against Lake Zurich this weekend. And I think that gets us through the halftime show, Jack, and it seemed like our equipment survived.
It really did. I think the DJ was playing some songs. That was Hot to Go by Chapel Roan. The kids seem to like that one.
It's on your playlist, I know.
Of course it is. That kept them out of our space, so we can have the DJ keep playing some more songs that the young kids like.
I see Coach Finger's dad over there, Papa Finger. He might be able to take out some of these Whitney Young students. He would, he taught his son that slide tackle.
It's a pretty good one.
All right, so Dolphins going to receive the kickoff.
Kind of a quasi onside kick.
Yep, that's
decent. Good coverage.
Yeah, good coverage. Tackling Sean Miller. I was going to guess that was Sean Miller. Sean Miller, sophomore, starring on the junior varsity team as well. His brother Brady Miller graduated this past year. Put in some yeoman work on the Dolphin offensive line during his time as a Whitney Young student, as an Aggie. All right, so Conrad gonna take over here
Looks like we got Will DeMille as a wideout now.
Yep, DeMille. Barry Gordon had a couple catches in the first half. Jolich is to Vaughn's left-hand side. Vaughn going to stay through the air. He's got some time. Rifles it over there. There's buddy Bardsma. Bardsma got up on that one. Nice pass. Again, Vaughn last week, even though the passing game yardage-wise didn't really click, Vaughn was actually 4 of 5 passing last week. Doing a nice job here. Made some adjustments. First quarter didn't necessarily go that way, but now he's rolling, and Luke Jolich is rolling out across the 50 to the 45-yard line for a first down. Good job by the senior running back, linebacker, shortstop. I know Jolich is getting some looks from some college programs right now. He could probably line up both as a baseball player and as a football player. Conrad staying in the hurry up here. Gives it to Jolich. Jolich across the 40. Close to another first down. I think they might have that, or maybe just short. Nice job on first down, Luke Jolich. Also like this Dolphin offense, staying in a hurry at most. So that was a first down, so give Jolich 10.
Clark's going to take a timeout.
Clark's going to take a timeout, which is going to allow me to actually go and say it is not halftime anymore. Say it's the third quarter. And give Clark 2 timeouts and give the Dolphins 3 timeouts. So Coach Kevin Simmons with the Clark Eagles missing a couple of their guys who were Chicago Public League second-team performers last year. So we do not think we've seen Anthony Brooks, who was a second-team defensive lineman last year, and Anthony Spivey, who is second-team at linebacker, also in the last couple weeks carried a bunch of the load as a running back. Anthony is a sturdy dude, so we've not seen either one of those guys. We have seen Marjay Devine, number 53, who is a second-teamer, Chicago Public League. On the Dolphins, if you want to look at that team, you got Nick Dale, who was a second-team center last year. Of course, Solomon Bradley, first-team kicker. Both Duhan and Jolich were also on that team. Duhan in motion right now. Conrad back to pass, flips it over to Jolich. Jolich got a man to beat, and he does. Oh, he's going to get in for a touchdown, but it's coming back. It's coming back. There was unfortunately, a fairly obvious hold on the outside, and Jolich didn't need that hold.
He didn't need it.
Did not need it. He had the one guy that he had to beat on his own, and no one else would have had an angle on him. So that's going to come off the board. It'll be a downfield hold. Downfield hold on a Dolphin receiver. We won't say who it was, but if you were watching at home, you might have seen it because there was hands on some jersey there. So 35-yard line. It was probably 10 yards downfield, so you're going to be a first down and 10 at the 35. BG3, DeMille to the top, Duhan to the bottom. Now they're going to go back to the other side. Jolich gets tripped up that time. It's about 5 yards. But nice job over there. I think that might have been DeMarcus Reynolds on the tackle. So second down and 5. Vaughn back to pass. Now to Barry Gordon.
BG3.
Good block by Quinn Duhan. BG3 still on his feet. Out across the 20-yard line for a first down. Conrad is cooking back there. Cooking with gas.
First down in the red zone. Are they? We're calling it the red area now, Barry. Do you know? I heard some people call it the red area.
The red area.
I heard it. I've heard that.
Let's
red
not call it
sound.
that.
Okay, good. Okay.
I don't care what anybody else is doing. That
Good.
That makes me feel funny. Let's call it the red zone.
I agree.
Conrad cooking. Yolich next to him. Conrad handing to Yolich. Yolich with a good block out there.
Yeah, clipping off 6-7 yards a carry.
Yep, I think we're saying Alan Espinosa is working that offensive line. I saw him out there getting some pads on some people. So
welcome to the UN security force.
That's right. Aya Kunli, Alan Espinosa, Luke Yolich, welcome to the end zone. Touchdown.
Touchdown Dolphins.
So nice job, Yolich. Running off of the left side of the Dolphin line. Yolich with his second touchdown of the day. He opened the scoring with a 5-yard touchdown run on the first possession. So 9:03 left here. All important extra point. Dr. Barrett to Dr. Conrad to Dr. Solomon Bradley. It's good.
Up to 40.
And that should get the clock rolling. Tony would know exactly when that starts to roll. But Dolphins having their way. Yep, so now the clock, and we're going to be running clock now that the margin in the game is 40 points. So Whitney Young up here, 40-0. 8:40 left in the third quarter.
We do have a couple texts from the Godfather. He's reporting Amiston 13, Peyton 7 at the half.
Okay, so Peyton looking for their first win. Amundsen, we knew, came into that game if they had 5 starters out last week. Amundsen was a team that advanced in their first year last year at the Red Division, advanced to the playoffs, and is kind of a team built in that sort of north side Taft/Lane model. So low scoring, but good defensive battle there. Solomon Bradley getting set to kick this away. Got DeMarcus Reynolds and DeJuan Hill back deep to receive. Reynolds closest to us here. That kick is heading Reynolds' way. Reynolds takes it at the 10. Heading to his left, looking for some blocks. He's got a wall out there. He also had Pantoja ushering him out of bounds. So good job.
Nice. The Dolphins stayed in their lanes there.
Yep.
It was nice coverage.
Good job by Brian Pantoja, junior special teamer. I think Pantoja going to stay in on defense right now. So we'll try to do our best to grab you some numbers here on some defensive guys checking in. Devander Shoemaker looks like he's going to be out on a corner position. Tim Edwards also in the game, number 44. Adrian Del Villar, who's already seen a bunch of time on the D-line, is in there. Efren Solano on the nose. Oshesky, part of the security force, is there. Inside linebackers, look like you got Sean Miller, number 28, and also Lee Dingfield, number 20. So those guys take over for Yolich and Gray. Pantoja, Solomon Bradley, your safeties, and Kendall Linen in at corner. He played a bit of corner last week as well. So that's your defensive lineman. Clark in an I formation. Handoff up the middle. Nice run. Ball comes out. And it's grabbed by a Clark offensive lineman. He had visions. He had visions
really
of going south with that.
He was chopping and moving his feet quickly.
So Del Villar almost able to snag that as it was up there, but Clark, offensive lineman, collected it. We got a Clark player down on the field right now. Down on the field, but the clock is running. So this is where it makes it even more challenging for a comeback type of situation. So now they stopped it. Tony will tell us what the ruling is. I guess you stop the clock on an injured player, and that would seem what you should do.
That would seem to be kosher.
So yeah, while we have some time, we talked about the Kenwood game next week.
Big game Saturday afternoon. Dolphin percussion is drumming.
As they do, they're percussing.
They are percussing and drumming, it seems.
So Kenwood again, they're 1-3 right now, but it's not fair, right? They played St. Francis, who's currently ranked number 9. They lost to them 27-21 in the opening week. Then they played Naz. So Naz, a team that took down Loyola. Nazareth ranked number 3 right now. Kenwood lost to them 42-15. Then they got the win over Peyton 27-0, and then went up against Nazir Rankin, Marcus Thaxton, Javon Clark, and the rest of the Morgan Park team last week and lost to them 20-0. So their 3 losses are all to top 20 ranked opponents. Again, you had Stewart, Lightfoot, Clax, Grant all graduate. You got A.T. Taylor, the defensive lineman, with a bunch of offers. You got DeMaje Williams and Conan Little Jr., who are still around, and new head coach Chris Goffer. So they go against Hyde Park. I would imagine that they'll be rolling in to face the Whitney Young Dolphins at 2-3 next week. Again, that game is going to kick off 1:30 on Saturday the 5th. All right, we're back in action. Second down and long, about 8. Let me see if I can get a check on who is at quarterback, because we saw Henderson go out in the first half.
Pass.
Henderson is back in. Henderson lofting it deep. Nice job, Kendall Linen, on the pass breakup. So Henderson, who's back in, he was looking for Jaden Taylor down the right sideline. Coverage by Lynham and Solomon Bradley.
Interesting game tomorrow night up on the north side. DePaul College Prep Rams are hosting Loyola.
Ah, yes.
So a fun game. The Rams program is building, and probably a tough matchup for them against the Loyola team that has some losses this year.
They do. And again, some of the on Loyola, some of it is about health. Ryan Fitzgerald missed a couple games. But yeah, it's good. It's like you get into some of that Catholic League action. And DePaul definitely, from an overall program, has built it up over the last few years. Clark trying to figure some things out here. Henderson getting his receivers situated, 3 to the top. He's got a running back in the backfield with him. He's got 1 receiver to his right. I'm not sure he's happy with where everybody is, but he's going to take it. They're going to throw it deep. He had a receiver with a step over there, but wasn't able to connect it. So incomplete pass. Again, the clock is running here as the score is 40-0 here. 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Henderson over with Coach Simmons getting the plays. So yeah, Dolphins travel to, hosting Kenwood next week. I don't even know. Is that a home game for us?
That counts as an away game.
Okay.
Up at Fritz Pollard.
So Kenwood, and then back here at Rockne for Amundsen after that. Then Westinghouse, then senior night Taft here at Rockne. 3 receivers to the right. Henderson back to pass. Henderson looking to run. Henderson dumps it out. just out of the outstretched hands of his receiver. Pantoja on the coverage. He's trying to get it out there to Elijah Embry. I think that there was I think he might have been across the line of scrimmage on that pass. Oh, or it was 4th down. All right, I got a little lost.
It was 4th down.
Lost in translation. So Josiah Purnell coming in at quarterback. So Vaughn Conrad, highly successful day done for Vaughn. Josiah, who we've seen a couple games already this year, he's got a touchdown pass to Sheldon Williams. Josiah back to pass.
Up
the
top.
Lefty flips it out. He's got BG3. BG3, run the end of your route, my man. Josiah had a nice pass, fade to the corner, and I don't know if BG3 didn't pick up the ball.
It looked like he picked it up late.
Yep, picked it up a little bit late. I think Sheldon Williams is like saying, BG3 is like, he doesn't need anybody to explain that. He right there, he said to Josiah as he's coming off the field, he's like, that was on me, man.
It's a good ball.
Yeah, very good ball. So the lefty, Josiah Purnell, he's got Maxwell Warner, birthday boy Maxwell Warner to his left, 3 receivers to the top. Hand off to Warner. Warner slung down in the backfield.
It's not nice to do on someone's birthday.
Exactly. I don't think that Amaje Devine really cares that it's Maxwell Warner's birthday right now.
Heading to the 4th quarter.
Yep.
Dolphins cheerleaders looking precise. Dolphins off school tomorrow.
Yes.
Heading into a long weekend.
I'm sure that they will use that off day wisely. I'm sure that there's a lot of academic pursuits that will go on. I'm sure everybody will be getting extra hydration, extra sleep. So we move to the 4th quarter. Dolphins with a commanding 40-0 lead. Hope you're all having a good Thursday, late afternoon, early evening out there. Again, I wish we had the name of our Dolphin fan here that has been tackling people for us all night. I really I appreciate he's still on it right now. He's really taking it on his shoulders to try to help out
we could
the
put him
Whitney
as
Young Dolphin broadcast crew.
Honorary member of the UN security force.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We need to give a shout out to Principal Ricky Harris for this young man's dedication. But yes, a good night out here. The clock, Coach Slaughter. He's like, I got this taken care of. How you doing, Coach? These are the voices. Yeah. Can we do a little preview? Yeah, we've got Coach Tyrone Slaughter. Coach Slaughter, how you doing?
I'm doing really well. We're up 40-0. How could you be doing bad?
Yeah. We got a little bit of time here. Can you give me 3 minutes on the Dolphins basketball program and what we're looking at this year?
Well, I think this year is going to be an incredible year. Last year we were a younger team. This year we returned 3 starters, a couple kids. We won't be as deep as we've been in the past, but the players that we have coming back are pretty good players. Some guys that have some outstanding summers and springs. We've got some guys that are getting some tremendous looks from the collegiate level, so we feel good about it. If we can only replicate what the football team is doing, we'd be in pretty good shape, I'll tell you that.
Oh, that's very good. So I'm going to call this. I want to keep you on air for a little bit here. So Maxwell Warner, our birthday boy right now, you'd probably like to get your hands on him in the basketball program, but he's between track and football. We got him pretty much occupied. You mentioned some of those guys, Antonio Munoz,
Marquise Clark, and DeMaje Richardson. Those are 3 of the guys that are starters. We have a 3-year starter, another 3-year starter, and another 3-year starter. So when you look at it from that perspective, some guys that kind of went through some bumps and bruises last year, I think we're going to return and have a really outstanding year. And we look forward to football taking us into a great basketball season.
All right, and we've got Maxwell Warner. He's going to find the end zone. Touchdown for the Dolphins. Dolphins go up here 46-0. Birthday boy Maxwell Warner on the board for the second time today. So, Coach Slaughter, what a Munoz, he can just jump out of the building. How has his game progressed? Because I remember seeing him out at the, when he was a freshman, out at the holiday tournament at Proviso. And like I saw you had some injuries, I saw a bunch of athleticism, but his game has really come a long way in all aspects of it.
And I think that's the best way to view him. As a young man who has made the transition year after year, he's gotten better. He's continued to evolve as a player, and now I think as a senior, not only has his game and his skill set started to improve, his confidence and his ability to lead our basketball team are actually are going to be paramount for what we do this year. And I think people are going to see an incredibly rounded basketball player, Antonio, this upcoming season, and we're excited to have him, and we're excited for what he's going to do for our team and for our institution.
All right, and I saw Marquise picked up a couple more offers this week, right? It looked like a St. Louis offer and a few other things going on.
Yep, St. Louis, TCU. He has a myriad of offers, and I think by the time this year is over, those offers are only going to continue to increase. He's an outstanding player, a big-time guard who had an outstanding summer playing in the AAU circuit. And, so I think the natural progression is to get back to have great confidence and then to play against, the people that you know and to really feel good about it. And now he is a bona fide he'll be a 3-year starter when it's all said and done.
And it's got to say something, too, for the program when you can point to thinking about Dalen Davis being able to go to Princeton and immediately contribute to that NCAA qualifying program. That had to be a lot of fun to watch for you as a coach.
When Dalen came in as a freshman, one of the things that we knew about Dalen was he was probably an incredibly intelligent student, outstanding student. He was an incredibly intelligent basketball player, outstanding basketball player. And when you look at him and you look at the trajectory of his game, both from high school to college, he started as a freshman. Only the second person that we've had to have done that prior to him. To start as a freshman, and we knew his trajectory was high. And a lot of people looked and they thought because he went to Princeton, that meant that he couldn't do other things. But the one thing that Dalen recognized that many people probably don't recognize is that it may not be a high major in basketball, but it is an incredibly high major in life. And so he's understanding that that decision for Princeton for him is going to be a life-altering decision for not just for him, but for generations to come. And not to withstand. I mean, they've done some great things at Princeton, and he has been a part of it, and he's going to even have a larger part this upcoming season. We're excited for him.
Yeah, that's so much fun. And then I'll ask you one other guy. We talked about him earlier in the broadcast, Xavier Amos. So he went to Northern Illinois. He was a guy, at least from my uneducated view, it was a guy that you saw his progression during his senior year. Then he goes to NIU, puts together a great year last year, and now he's up at Wisconsin, which, I mean, they've got some work to do up there, but it's still like the history of that program. And it's fun to have a guy in a Big Ten representing your program.
Yeah, when you look at Xavier, he was one of those guys that was incredibly gifted as an athlete. I think for him it was all a part of him gaining the confidence because his skill sets were to go on from Northern, which he was a big to go out into the deep waters as a big fish, and he's going to do outstanding.
Well, that's very good. I know that you were just walking through here to try to get somewhere else, but great to get the view. And, hey, if you ever want us to come out and do skills to be able to do that, but great to talk to you, Coach Slaughter. Appreciate it.
Well, let me just say this. And every time when I'm not able to make the games, I'm always catching them on YouTube. And I always say to myself, where do they get those from? Thing that Coach Finger has an incredible budget, obviously, to have you guys. You guys do an outstanding job, and I'm honored to be able to speak with you. And congratulations and welcome you out.
All right. Well, football moves at more of our pace, I think. This overall program. I mean, it's from Principal Harris through everything else. We talk about the school part of it.
We're actually the reason.
We said that last week. We said either they got a made-up mascot or logo, but it's in our DNA.
You know what they say, imitation is the greatest form. Our school community, we are proud to have you guys, and the work that you guys do is immeasurable. And so for me, I know that professionalism that you guys exude.
All right, well, thank you very much. Coach Tyrone Slaughter of the Whitney Young Dolphin basketball team, historic basketball program here in the city of Chicago. We'll look for them to get underway. Season starting in November?
November we'll be in Rockford, and then we come back to Chicago to play in the Chicago Elite Classic, which is always a incredible event, and we welcome any and everyone to come out and support.
All right, sounds good. Thanks a lot, Coach Slaughter. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Coach Slaughter. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, hey, that was a lot of fun. We just grabbed Coach Tyrone Slaughter out of the crowd as he was coming by. Again, he hit the high points there. We had talked a little bit about the program. We're going to try to catch up on some of the guys in. I see that Lockett was in. Now we got Yanni Luze heading in. Chase Green, whose brother Cameron Green played at Northwestern. His dad, Mark Green, played at Notre Dame and for the Bears, so he's out playing a corner, number 81.
Looks like we got Timothy Edwards, class of 27. Some sophomores getting in.
5:50 left here. Clark looking to throw it deep. Good coverage out there. Nice coverage on the end by Arian Cabral. Arian Cabral, he of the
touchdown
kickoff return for a touchdown after the safety.
They call him Touchdown Arian.
Do they?
They do now.
They do now. They do now. So Cabral in 44. Yeah, you mentioned Timothy Edwards. I know Efren Solano getting some time on the nose. We are thinking that it's Kenneth Gayden at D-line. He had played a little bit earlier as well. I think he's donning number 18. Jacob Wildermuth in the game.
We got 13.
Logan Jones also in the game. So Jacob Wildermuth, outside linebacker, in coverage right now. Two receivers top, two in the bottom. Henderson looking to throw deep, wings it out. Nice job, Efren Solano and Brian Pantoja, both back in coverage. Actually, a nice ball from Henderson.
That was a nice pass.
He was trying to get it out there to Nayland Weaver. Nyland Weaver, the receiver for Clark. 3rd and 10. Solano and Logan Jones checking out. Oshevsky back in the game. Actually, it's not Oshevsky. Looks like it's Ben Miller. Ben Miller getting some D-line reps.
Ben Miller, great kid.
Aiden Fusey also. Miller and Fusey taking on that left-hand side. Fusey wearing the green nitro cleats. Henderson back to pass, rolling to his right. Going to take it himself, looking for a first down, out of bounds.
Nice coverage by.
I bet his brother is